Oh, no. Oh, I think I can hear myself. I can hear myself now.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Alright.
I I have a general idea how that would work, but none of it is helpful.
Yes.
That's a great segue.
So
So,
we switching into Oz's backstory now?
not totally,
Okay.
like,
I'm
I
just
don't
I'm only
have,
asking because 'cause I'm taking notes.
uh I don't have that much detail for my backstory besides the stuff I picked out with character creation, like lore, bard, very interested in stories, far traveler background, and so, like, best case for me is I just meet everyone One Piece style, and that's how the party gets made, which starts with this of like, so I go into a tavern and there's a loud lion-looking person at the bar, and I'm like, this might start a story, and I go up to them, and they're like, I come from this place where I've been sent by Eros to find my own path in this strange world. What sort of gods do you have out here that I might gain their favor? Like, so what's your name? Tyrion. Well, there's Tyr, who would certainly value your sorts of deeds of protecting the weak and fighting the evil. And he's like, that sounds like an excellent idea. Tell you what, you come back here in 3 months. You catch the eye in the sky. I'll buy you as much ale as you can drink. And
Hell
then
yeah.
3 months go by, and then like some amount of time later. No, this could have happened at level one. It's like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're starting at level 3, so essentially
And then there's the same voice, and the sigil is there. And I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't wrong. This was the good. Like, and then he's like, oh, hey. And then I, several hours and ales later, I find out how it happened. It might just become Oberyn, and we'll just all get Game of Thrones names.
it is a Robin.
That's why I liked it in the first place. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, basically, like, anything, like, it's always just challenge accepted in his mind.
I didn't pick
Yeah,
I didn't pick training and religion again, so it makes sense.
yeah. Alright. Yeah, that totally works. Yeah, well, I mean, and also you being a fucking the only lion person in the land clad in fucking plate armor with like a sword and a shield, like even if you aren't the greatest person, like there are going to be stories about you because you are extremely unique within the world. So like yeah, that totally makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay. So I think I have a decent understanding of like how you guys like where you're coming from. So like Chris, um
Yeah.
yeah, so you are in a unique spot, and I like I said, like when I was speaking with you before, like I did some research on the Warforged, and like essentially they aren't really being created anymore. They were created back in like the 960s for war, and then in the 990s, they were granted the same rights as humans, because they are sentient and they do have free will. Uh, and so, um, but like they essentially can't die. So we talked a little bit about like how like if you want the party to find you or like role play out finding you, or like if because essentially like my first thought was kind of like because you guys are starting at level 3, my thought would be that you're already kind of like an adventuring party that had come together not super long ago. Maybe a couple of you like my essentially with your character, I kind of thought that like you and Sarah's character probably would have found each other, um, and because both of you have such like an alien non-humanoid way of thinking, you kind of had like a weird balance, like a yin and yang kind of style where like it made sense because neither of you think like an actual like human. Um and like maybe like Sarah's like lizard person finds you in a, half buried in like a swamp or something and like wants to try to scrap you for armor and then like accidentally activates you and like you activate and you're like what's going on, I don't know what's happened, and like you're both kind of like this weird like emotionless robotic type of thing, and so it like works out to where it's like, oh well, this guy can help me hunt but this guy also doesn't need to eat, so like I can hunt more and not have to share it with this other person kind of thing, and like there's like benefits to your friendship there that would make sense to as to why you guys would know each other. And I don't want to push that on you. And I don't mean to come off that way. It's just like that was kind of like an idea that I had. If you have your own idea, please let me know.
I
I
still
mean,
kind of
I
like the idea of the party like coming across me on the way into an area or something. I think it would be cool if everybody got to react to seeing like a what's essentially a rusted old mossy statue come to life.
Let's just do the entire thing Wizard of Oz style at this point.
Well, Sarah, what were you gonna say?
I mean, I've thought about that too, but I wanted to see first what anybody else was trying to like, because I figured the easiest way to kind of figure a Liz folk hanging out with somebody else is they were connected with somebody else to join the party. But I'm cool with
Yeah.
finding Chris and bringing him back to life
Well,
as a
so
group.
I agree with you, and that was part of the thing too. Is like I've done some research recently on the lizard folk as well, and I I had kind of talked to you a little bit about it too, where it was
Hmm.
like I could see that you know like you and Jared's character having like a Goku Vegeta dynamic, where it's just like you guys are like frenemies, where it's like you're both really strong, you always kind of come to a stalemate, and like you're you're friends and you're going to help each other out, but it's more of like you want this other person around because you want to you have to prove that you're stronger than that other person, kind of thing, and like that could work. But just like trying to bring Chris, because the thing that I'm trying to think of too is like with Chris's character, like I could have you guys role play like finding him, but I'm gonna have to kind of railroad you into finding him, or else it's gonna be like what if I, if I, unless I railroad you into finding Chris, it's gonna be like, well, what if you don't pick up on my like plot hooks that I'm giving you and you just walk by?
Well, at that point, he wouldn't even be able to play right away until we get to the point in which we find him.
You could
Well,
do
like
either way.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, so that is a good idea, and I kind of spoke with Robin a bit about it too, and like Robin really liked Chris's idea, and I was like trying to, like, I was bouncing some ideas off her, like how can I, like, what would be a good way to go about this, because I think your amnesia, like you want to do this whole amnesia thing, and I think that's a really fucking good idea, and like and I can come up with like some really cool things to like reveal to you that would also be a surprise to you and also the party. Um,
I think the further along it goes, the more traumatic it's going to be too. Because one of my personality traits that I rolled was he has like horrible visions of like flashes of the past because he's
oh
been
shit,
through
then that's
traumatic events.
perfect. Yeah. So like, yeah. So like I kind of had this idea of like, I think you rolled, or I think you put in your character sheet that you're like 23, but like maybe you had like 23 years of experience and you were like a pretty high up like in a military, and like during like a battle you got somehow like deactivated by something, like maybe there was like a spell that deactivated a bunch of you guys, and you get like dug up and reactivated by accident. And so like I but what I was saying was like I was talking to Robin and she was talking about how like we could literally just start it there, where it's like you guys all have found each other, you all know each other. It's like, oh yeah, previously on, like before before what's going on is like before you guys walk up to this, here's where you guys were and like the events leading up here. And it's like you guys kind of like start just outside of town, like in the woods, and kind of uncover like a goblin encampment or some sort of other like creature encampment that is like you know digging up like Warforged, like they found like these Warforged that are like buried and like overgrown with trees and shit, and they're like digging them up to like scrap them for armor or something, and like yeah, like hundreds of years ago. Yeah, it's been overtaken by nature. And so like yeah, they're just
Jared, Jared, that's just the last bastion,
yeah. And so well, yeah,
which
but
works
like
I
really
was
well.
actually gonna
yeah,
say,
so
if you
like
want to find me, look
essentially,
for Ganymede.
well, because I was gonna say, like, I mean, that was what I pitched to you in when I was talking to you about it, was like I was like, Bastion from Overwatch, like he is technically a bad guy, but he doesn't remember any of that. He's just kind of like overgrown with moss, and he just something happens to where he gets reactivated and like wakes up, and he's just like, I don't remember anything, but like, yeah, essentially. So
Forged for war.
like it could be that like we start off the campaign where like you guys have just like ended an encounter with goblins or something, something like off the path as yeah, kobolds or something. As you guys are coming into town, you like just like you somebody like a kobold steal like one of your guys' like coin purses, and you chase after them, and you find this whole operation where they're like digging up ancient warforged like people that then they're trying to scrap the metal for armor. And uh as you've defeated them and you're kind of like looking around, like poking around in these ruins, like you just like wake up, and like we could
Wait,
start. Yeah, right,
I'm not
exactly.
alive? Statement. I am alive.
Yeah. Exactly. So like
I
we could start it off to like that's where you guys are, and that would, I mean, if long as you guys are okay with it, that's going to force you guys to immediately RP, like because you're going to have to come up with a reason why both of you, both Chris and you guys, are going to have to come up with a reason why, like why would he join you?
It's a good story.
Well, okay. So if
Yeah.
my my motivation is I wake up and all I know about like anything is war and battle, because that's all the programming that's left. My memories are gone. I'm going to I'm going to follow the people with the swords, you know?
Yeah, like maybe you wake up and you're like, I remember that I like you're like a Jason Bourne, where you're like, I don't know
Yeah,
why I know how to fight, but I'm really good at fighting.
exactly. Yeah.
And like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll work on that.
So, but like,
I like native people.
I would say that like we could say that like you wake up and like you recognize that like clearly the last thing you probably remember. Maybe well, so because here's the thing is like you wanted to do this whole amnesia thing, and like that worked in with this character where I was like,
Yeah.
these characters are made out of stone, wood, and metal. And there's obviously like something arcane that is powering them. So like presumably it would be like like some sort of arcane, like
Nice.
a soul crystal, some sort of like, you know, some sort of magic crystal that would give them life, sentience. Um, so what we could say is that like your memory crystals are damaged, and so like you don't really remember why you know what you know, and like how you know what you know, or where like anything, but you know that you can fight, and that's really all you remember. Like you remember like some training,
That's cool.
but that's all you really remember. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, I remember I was in a war, but it did nothing looked like this anymore, and I don't know where I am. Like I was in a large battlefield, but now this is a forest. Like what's happening? You know, because to you it would have been a blink of the eye when you
Mm.
wake up next. And you're like, what happened to all my comrades? Where am I? I know how to fight, but I can't remember anything else. Like kind of thing. Um,
I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm still trying to figure out a good way to bring Pac into the party that he's like no reason.
yeah, you should. Well, because like my second segment in this structure was if you don't have a backstory, just kind of tell us about your character, and we can kind of pitch some ideas, and we can come up with some stuff. So
Yeah, and I have skills.
Is that a That's a,
What's available armor and eat people. We eat our family when they die and stuff like that. And any part of the creature is useful, so we just wear it. I don't know if that's what you wanted me to say. We just eat. Tools, yeah, teeth, everything's used. It's their burials are,
Well,
yeah.
they are the true neutral characters, where it's just kind of like this person that you've been fucking questing with for the past 5 years. Ah, shit, they died.
dibs on
Okay.
his boots.
All right, well, they're dead, yeah. Move on. Over it.
They they make mud.
Although I messaged you before, Sarah, and I was kind of explaining like I kind of pitched an idea as to why you would be part of the party, and you said it didn't work, and that's totally fine. That's like your character. It was just an idea, but you are, as a player character, your character just by default is going to be more intelligent than your average lizard folk, and because they shun intelligence, that was kind of like my basis on that. Like, because they're like at a negative, they're like at a 7 intelligence, and I don't even know if you could. Can you even like get a character sheet to 7 intelligence?
I think it's base 8 unless you have negative intelligence. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if you could even do that, because that's like the intelligence of like maybe a 3-year-old. Whereas like
Regardless, like,
a 10 is like the average, like you're as smart as like a farmer. Like an average like peasant, like an average person, um, who hasn't like been traditionally educated, kind of thing.
okay. So what I have for POC so far is I know I told you guys like my motivation with the party is food and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
that was kind of very like short to it. And I already let Marquise know about it. Like, so food is kind of like it's my motive, but my motive because as a lizard person, I was born male because we didn't have the highest amount of food in the area, so we needed more soldiers and scouts and male lizard people out there because lizard people don't have genders until like I think it was like a month or so before they hatch, and depending on what's like around their nest depends on what their gender will be. So
Yep.
we're kind of like in a semi-struggling lizard society, and I was really intrigued by one of our den tribe would be actually under the water, and yeah, I think I really want my den tribe is going to be under the water and underwater cave, which is why we'd probably be struggling a little bit because we're not as available to food besides like fish.
Well, and I want to give you a little bit of a scenario that will play into that, is that the area that you guys are going to be starting off in is um like highly trafficked for like it's a like the town you're starting in it off in is like a big fishing village, and there's also like, so it would totally make sense, like if they are overfishing, you wouldn't have enough food.
So yeah, actually leads into my motivation because as a male lizard folk person, I was sent out as a scout, which follows into the soldier idea I had for a person. And my job is to go out, gather information, eventually come back, just tell them what I found, and find the best food source for all of us. And I'm trying to think of like a reason why I've been, because if I got up to level 3, I'm trying to think of like the motivation keeping me from returning besides the fact that maybe I just don't really remember.
I have I have an idea. I have an idea, but if anybody else wants to pitch in.
Oh, have you not? I'll send you a thing.
Well, if you want to follow, uh, that's fine. It's just if we do it that way, like the motivation would be like maybe we entered into like some sort of like personal contract that you said you would help me and my tribe if I stuck around. But the only
Well,
way it would be if like you propose that.
well,
'Cause
also I had an idea of like to where like your character, like lizard folk are all about like fighting, fucking, and eating. But if you
yeah, that's pretty
but
much it.
but like your character, but they're not the they're not the smartest, but they're smart enough to recognize that like these people are really strong, and if I continue to go with them, if I continue to like, like party with them and continue this adventure, I can just become stronger, and I can eventually just like my people won't have to hunt anymore. Like food will be given to us because I could, be a hero kind of thing. Like yeah, like I could have powerful allies because like I was watching that video that you posted, and I was reading a bunch of stuff about them too, and it's like they do trade with other races, and like they do like, but so like they're smart enough to like have a trade system. They'll do that kind of thing. So it's like if you're able to be like, well, fuck trading. If I can become like a hero or like well known, like people will just give me things, and like I can save my village from like because I'm like respected kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm okay with that because it also works in like I can't take on the world by myself, so I'm just gonna have to be a bit different to get what I want in the end by working together with these people.
Well, sure. I mean, because even the video that you were showing that Jared posted that we all watched was like the lizard folk have been around for hundreds of years, um, if not thousands, and it's always been the same way. So like it could be interesting if your character was like a little bit different in where you're like we could do more than this. And so like even if you're not like super blatantly obvious about it, just being like, this person's strong and I'm strong, and if I follow this person and we get stronger, then I can get whatever I want and bring it back to my tribe. And then my tribe will be the strongest. Yeah. Exactly, like just trying something different. Like maybe your character is a lizard folk that's just like, instead of just like hunting for fish, like I'm like smart enough to recognize that like maybe there's a better way, and like just kind of like you try it out and you're like, oh shit, I met these people and they're really strong, and people, like maybe I can, if I follow these people and get real strong, then I can get whatever I want.
Does that mean we got to come up with like a scenario where I witness how strong
Well,
uh
so
people
that was the
are?
thing. That was the thing was like other yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because so like the whole idea with the beginning of the whole thing and the fact that you guys are starting at level 3 was you guys already kind of knew each other, had run into each other within the past like year or so. And so like instead of like forcing you guys to role play that situation out, it would have been that at some point you guys ran into each other, maybe you fought each other, or maybe you oversaw him like doing something, saw not just him but like the the group doing something, and you're just kind of like, these people have enough power to get what they want, I want that, and join. Because like I feel like a lizard person would see it that way, where they're like, I want this thing, these people have enough power to get that thing, if I join them I can get that thing. Kind of, you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they have a reputation for not being very smart, right? So just throw them at things that need to be hit. Welcome addition to the team.
Well,
Your plan
yeah,
is
I
to
mean,
throw me at the enemies.
your your character would totally do
I can definitely have that attitude if we don't start with the Warforged that already does that, if they're the main person that does that.
that. Well,
And
the
my
Warforged.
whole thing with why the party would want a Warforged is
Like,
because it's a fucking Warforged. It's a
yes,
expendable robot that you can just say point and kill. You don't know
yeah,
Well,
what it is. You just
that's
think it's
even
an
better.
automaton. You don't know it has
well,
a
that's the thing is like
personality.
the Warforged is not. No, the Warforged is not an automaton. They
Well, I
have
know, but what I'm saying though is the party doesn't know that. They've never seen a Warforged before.
okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I
because
am.
a Warforged, yeah, because a Warforged is sentient and does have free will. They do feel fear. They do
They
feel
feel
pain.
pain.
They do, like, they are essentially like a human built out of wood, stone, and metal, like,
Uh,
and magic. So like they
yeah, I
do
have.
have a weird alien way of thinking because they don't necessarily understand like why people do the certain things that they do, like eat food and drink water and sleep, but they do feel the same kind of things that other people do, um, because it's like weird and arcane and that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, there's a line in Portal 2. They do feel pain of a sort. It's all simulated, but real enough for them, I suppose.
They feel it. Yeah. Good.
Yay.
Positive.
That's good.
Like, yeah, we find this weird thing in wreckage, and it starts moving, and I cast detect magic, and you're like, it's basically running on magic. I'm like, yeah, yeah, he's coming with us. Yeah, we are not leaving this sort of thing behind.
I feel yeah, I feel like we can totally find a reason for uh Chris's character to come along. Um and I feel like with Sarah we can find a reason to, do you feel like there's a reason why you would come along? Like
No, I'm all for that whole like like maybe something happens and I witness like probably Jared's character first and foremost is really strong.
yeah.
I
I
don't
like
Because
really have a concept of good and evil. I just see
I
you
like
you
the
feeling
don't
contract.
yeah.
you don't
I like
but
the contract idea. Like you guys have to have something in writing and sealed by a town official. I think that is fucking fantastic.
I don't know if Sarah's character can read.
We are illiterate.
Yeah,
Well,
you
yeah,
I
We're,
I
don't
don't
think you
think
we're
can
that
read.
matters so much. She'll know what a contract is.
I don't think she would.
it'd be like a word of honor. Yeah, a
She
deal.
All right. They would know like yeah, they would know what like a deal is, like yeah, on my word kind of thing. Sure.
Yeah.
Like
You
on my honor.
to help provide food for my village or my tribe, sorry. And I promise not to eat you when you're sleeping.
Yeah. Well, so essentially what I want to do from all of this, what I would like to do is I wanted to get everyone's kind of like backstory, how they know each other, and then kind of like write like a 5 minute like synopsis of like here's how our party began and how they all met each other and here's where they are now, and then boom into like the game. Um so that or like yeah, so that exactly basically so that it's not, I if we're going to role play everyone meeting each other, it's going to take 4 or 5 sessions. Yeah, yeah.
Your Honor, we'll speculate to all of this.
And unless I like real hard railroad you guys into meeting each other, it's gonna take a while. Yeah, yeah. So it's like I'm essentially trying to say I'm trying to essentially set you guys up with like you have some level of friendship and camaraderie as you go into this. If I was going to set you up at level 1, I would not do that. But because you guys are level 3, which is much, much higher level than like your average person in this world, like because you have to think about the fact that like if you guys were level 1, you'd basically just be like maybe you're like a regular person who's like talented at something. But like level 3 compared to like your average person in a village, like you're fucking ridiculously strong compared to them. And like smart and powerful and like so um like well that was what I was yeah. So that was
Like,
another
not
thing
just
that I was
kinda
saying.
odd, super weird group.
Yeah, so that's what I had said, but I'd mentioned this once before where it was like, well, I gotta kind of come up with a reason why. So the area that you guys are going into is like mostly human, and then there are elves, there are dwarves, and there's like halflings. Um, in like the town that you're going into, and so like I have to come up with a reason why like when you walk into this town, they don't just fucking attack you, and like so like there's got to be some like yeah, like possible no, like literally no. Like there's a fucking metal man, a lion dude, and a lizard with you. I don't. What the fuck are you?
Well,
Um,
I also like the idea of, like, starting with them finding me, because then the first town we go to, they're gonna be like, "Holy shit, it's these weirdos," and now there's a metal dude with them? Like, seriously?
yeah, we could totally do that. Um, but I do have to give you guys some sort of renown. Like they have to know about you in some way. And I think with starting off with Tyrion and Oz's character, I can't remember the
You
not
can start.
Oberyn.
You can start saying Oberyn, and we'll fix it later in post.
Okay. With Tyrion and Oberyn knowing each other,
I
I
he, I like
hey
that
Rob,
he
hey
enjoys saying
Robin.
it. Like,
Um,
just go with it. We'll fix it in post.
but I could see where it's like it's like a Witcher scenario where like, oh shit, this dude's like a strong fighter and I'm gonna follow him around because like he's literally the only fucking lion person I've ever seen, and he's like a great fighter, and I know that if I follow this guy, my tales and songs and tunes are gonna be fucking heard like far and wide and shit. Like I'm gonna be famous for writing tales about this fucking guy, and like you're kind of like going after it for that whole situation, and then from there, like you guys kind of like meet up with like a lizard person, and like somehow you're gonna be in a region where like the sea is like right fucking there, so like that's why I was hoping that CJ would be here because I was like, how did they meet you and stuff, you know? I want to write because I want to write like a little like so that like at the beginning I can be like, here's what's been happening and here's how they are where they are now.
Like, worst case for any of these three, you could just like pull something out of a hat. Like, it's like a Wookiee life debt. Like, one of you got, of these people was a victim and got saved or whatever.
Well, and then, like, according to the timeline, the Warforged were put together and like built in like the 1900s, and this is taking 900, yeah, the
900s.
900s, and this story is taking a place around 1400s. So, like, there
Yeah,
are probably so few Warforged left. They're like
exactly.
legendary and only like whispered about.
Yeah, like no one like so that's the thing is like the Warforged don't die from natural causes. So as long as they aren't killed, they there could be some still alive, but they like no one like people would not be familiar with them. So it's like I have to like for some reason give you some sort of renown to where like people would be like, okay, these guys are weird, but I've heard about these guys and they are kind of on our side
If we
instead of
pay
just
them.
being like just instead of like a fucking lion, lizard, and a robot walking into town with a fucking halfling and a sea elf and being like, there's just fucking mutants here and like they're gonna murder us. Like people would be freaked out unless they knew like what was up. Yeah. Yeah. Essentially you would like you would because like a golem is essentially a warforged without sentience. It's basically like a warforged with the most basic programming. Um in like, I have this task, this is what I do. Where like you actually have sentience and free will, so you are technically a humanoid, and you have your own. You can make your own decisions. Make your own protocol. So like I do need to come up with like a reason why you guys are like, well, I wanted to have this because I wanted to come up with a reason why you guys had a party, and also come up with a reason why like maybe people know who you are and they don't fucking flip their shit when you walk into town. I'm gonna go to the restroom.
It'd be on the shore because it'd be close to the shoreline. I mean, I would be semi close enough when you first meet me to my tribe, but far enough away you would never be able to find my tribe because I'm a scout. And because my tribe is located underwater, you wouldn't really know where it's at to begin with. So, like, I would be probably along the shoreline somewhere trying to find a better source of food that's safe enough for the tribe. So, not necessarily near a city. Mhm. I mean, I can see that happening. Like, maybe.
Doc's in the stream and he says he can't hear whoever's talking. He says just silence.
Wait, what? No, I can hear us.
Oh, I can hear you now. I can
I
hear
can't.
everybody but you.
I cannot hear you. Yeah.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing.
I'm running to the
Wait,
bathroom real
wait.
quick.
There, it works now.
I can hear you now.
Oh no, Sarah, what you thought about that? Oz, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, kind of, Marquise, what you missed, and I suppose what the stream missed, or everything that I've said so far, the stream has missed. That hurts me inside a little bit. Because I was hoping to basically keep this bit as a record for CJ to go back and watch.
Yeah.
So I'll just say it again for the sake of everybody, I guess, except for the people who have heard it, and one of them just left. So we had this scenario where lizard folk and Leonin, along with the halfling, encounter each other. There's some kind of combat between the two big guys. They come to some sort of stalemate, a sense of respect, and Leonin finds out that lizard folk's tribe is, low on food due to, lack of food in the area, and he commits to helping them. So that scenario we had already talked about. Then the idea I was thinking of was, what if we made that all the same thing with little CJ's character? And so I'm basically saying this on stream to see if she is in on this, which would be that, like, there's some kind of, like, her sea elf camp or whatever has hired Tyrion to, for protection. There's some kind of raid from some sort of raiders on this camp at the same time that the lizard folk are out looking for food and hunting, and things get kind of confused because of the battle, and the lizard folk just being like, opportunity, fight, and they get mixed in there. Then the thing happens with the fight between the Leonin and the lizard folk. They come to some kind of respect. The raiders are chased off. He finds out that they're lacking food. Something happens to maybe a bunch of the people in CJ's camp. Maybe she only had like 3 or 4 people with her, and
Wait.
and now we've lost some of them or something. And so now she's alone, and she could join us, and I'm gonna help the lizard person, and I'm overcommitting entirely to everything.
No, I just want to make sure that I understand here.
I just spitballed it.
You, Oz, and Sarah's character meet each other in conflict, or no?
Well, Oz would have been with me already
Right.
from before this.
So you and Oz meet Sarah's character in conflict.
Yeah, and I just
Yeah.
happen to be there. But if we do that situation,
Well, is it?
So just kind of,
Is
I'm
it
just putting them all in
you
one,
just
jamming all these
Well,
people together.
yes, but like I'm trying to understand. Like, are you? Was the conflict?
He was
or
saying
was
that he's hired by the CJ's little clan of sea elves to protect them from an
okay?
oncoming raid.
That was
And
the
then
conflict.
Yeah.
in the madness, the lizard people are just like, ooh, free food, and they go in and kind of get involved as well.
so if
So
we do that, I do want Jared to kill one of my hatchmates, so he actually has like maybe an extra like step of guilt or something.
Oh, for me to be like, I killed
Yeah.
a lizard person, and then we came to some kind of stalemate. We talked.
And that's the armor you wear.
so okay. So Oz and Jared,
I love it.
your characters were hired by CJ's sea elves
Yeah.
to like help against a raid. Sarah's character just happens to show up with some other lizard folk. They all die, but she fights you into a stalemate, and you kind of like in the battle. You guys come to like some sort of agreement, mutual respect.
Maybe all the raiders are killed, some sea elves
Yeah.
are killed, some lizard folk are killed, and like
Yeah.
there's very few people standing at the end of this fight. Me and lizard guy are like, all right, we're the last ones. Can't beat it. Like, start talking. It happens.
Yeah.
I can't fight my way out of this. I'll word my way out of this. What's
I
wrong
know.
with you, lizard person? I don't understand, but I killed
Yeah.
your tribesmen, and you're only here for food, and you weren't with the raiders. I feel guilt, and I must restore what I have destroyed. I need to provide enough food for you to have as many lizard men who were
Well, that
killed
makes
here born into your
it makes sense because of the
tribe.
setting.
And
There are going to be
that was a
there are
very
gonna be
lizard
stuff,
person
though.
way to put that too, because it was just very sterile and to the point. Like, I will find your village enough food to have as many males born as were lost here.
Yeah.
We'll see
I think
if we
a
have
lizard
more
person
males
would
born. That means we
definitely-
Restitution.
don't have enough
Yeah.
food.
In Tyrion's case, he would repay evil's debt. I guess it's a little different from Game of Thrones Tyrion.
So essentially, like Sarah's character would show up with other lizard folk in
Yeah, we're
the
a scout
hunting-
party.
well,
Hunting
So-
like you would essentially be trying to take advantage of an opportunity, which
Yeah,
is
so say,
very
like-
lizard folk of you. to
3,
do.
4 lizard people just get caught up in this battle.
Yeah, you're like, these two people are fighting. We should just like
We could slip in there,
go in
get
and
some kills, and
slip
get some
in and
food.
kill them and take their food. Like while they're like hurting each other, we could hurt them and take their shit.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what a lizard folk would do.
Very opportunistic.
Yeah,
Just take the chance.
yeah.
It's fun. I mean, so yeah. So then there's a way to say that we've met CJ's character.
Yeah.
So Robin and Tyrion have known each other probably the longest out of the group. Maybe traveled, had some background together. They get hired by, or they get hired to do a protection gig. That goes wrong. CJ's group, camp, family, I don't know. Most of them, maybe a bunch of them died. Enough of them that it's reason for her to. I don't have anyone to travel with now. And then we're like, yeah, that was my traveling party. I don't really feel safe anymore. Can I travel with you guys? Tyrion, yes, of course.
So okay, so after the whole fight, are you guys befriending each other due to like a mutual respect out of strength, or what is actually drawing you guys together?
I mean, he promised me more food
A decent
for
amount of
my
fat
village,
talk.
but I also recognize his strength, and I know he can get me food, even though I don't really give one way or the other about him. Not super happy with him because he killed my hatchmates, but
Sure, I'm just
I killed one
you
of
know
them. We could say one of them. Could be pirates that killed the others, the raiders. But I definitely did one, and I feel bad about it. And after talking, I'm like, oh crap! Like I've got to undo my wrong. So
I'm more upset that I lost a lizard folk than hatchmate, so it lessens the tribe. How did I get a mosquito bite?
And then I also would suppose that Tyrion would in some way want to be like, okay, like if I can befriend this lizard folk and have them join the party, then perhaps I can, sway the whole. Uh, I don't want to say tribe, the whole tribe. Are they a tribe? How's it said? Is it a tribe? Is it a clan? Is it a
it's a tribe.
clutch? Is it a flock? It's a
It's
tribe.
a tribe.
Okay, the tribe of lizard folk. Then maybe I can get them on my side. Call be a
It's
bigger part.
possible. I mean, so essentially what I have so far is so Oz and Jared are hired by CJ's character to help defend the Sea Elves against raiders. Sarah's character seeing a fight and wanting to take advantage of the opportunity. Sarah and Jared, after all but her, Jared, CJ, and Oz's characters are left standing. They fight each other and they come to a stalemate. Um, they gain a mutual respect for each other, strength, and each other's strength. And Sarah's character recognizes that these people could help her get stronger and get more food.
Yeah.
So far, that's what I have. I'm just trying to put something together to like give a synopsis before we start
Yeah.
the campaign. So,
And then after, that whole like set of things, like Tyrion and Robin meeting, that's a while before this. Then
yeah,
they get hired. They've been traveling units. They get hired. This happens, and then I would say there's times past where we've traveled together, right? Well, we've been on other adventures, so people then have this idea of the sea elf and lizard and lion person and halfling who travel. We've done something that gave us some kind of renown, and then we start this campaign on where we meet Letus after some kind of camp like that we've taken out or
yeah, I would say
something.
that like we can start where um you guys have just taken out some sort of camp or something like that, and you guys find Leadist half buried in the woods, and he's like overgrown with moss and stuff like that. And in just interacting with him, it awakens him, and he joins you guys. And I can come up with like a cool way to do that. I just wanted to make sure everyone was cool with that happening.
I like this though. This has been fun. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
like just this
There-
how we became a group. This has been enjoyable.
Get used to this though. Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
Whenever you roleplay it, bring it, buddy. I'll have to
It's
try.
like, and this is my counterpart, R2D2.
Yeah.
I'll have to try.
And there's this
Oh.
me.
R2D2. Oh goodness. I'll have to try and find a voice for Tyrion.
Okay. Yes, I can
Is
just
he
switch
regal?
at will too. So
I could be a cyborg, which is not quite as abrasive as robot.
Seriously,
That
Robot
that
better.
that sounds a little bit better.
I like
Jared,
that work better.
The,
Yeah.
the cyborg is better. You're
Jared, look
more
up Tyrion and WoW.
So this one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrion. I'll check it out.
I was
All
like,
right.
put your
I'll-
faith in the light. And it's all a big deal, and like, I don't know that much. Never really played much of the game, but I've been exposed to a lot of the lore because of friends.
which one? What game?
World of Warcraft.
Ah, I
It's
know
definitely not what I
almost
think of when I think
zero
of the name
about it.
Tyrion.
That's fair. They probably got it from the original books at some point.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I suppose the stature of this character is the same, but I'm definitely on
You could also pick a home god.
yeah. Oh yeah, what I worshipped before. There's a lion deity, but that's in Faerun, and I was like, oh, that one's cool. But I'd probably look at the Greek gods and see, because
Or just
the
or the
Theros,
Theros book gods.
yeah, the Theros pantheon like imitates those, even though they're not the
Like-
same. But
Like, do you need a go out and test yourself person, or a go out and do good person, or a go out and make a good story person?
yeah, right. That's probably the story person. Yeah, but no, I hadn't done my homeworld god yet. I was gonna look over them.
Fair.
All right. I have a decent little intro thing to write on how we get to where we are going to start. So, and I'll work on that after maybe tomorrow when I haven't drank 4 glasses of wine.
Yeah, 4? No, yeah, that's a good number.
I think I need a glass of something too. It's been a fucking day, you guys.
Yeah,
Dude, it's been a week.
I'm on onto Jack and Coke.
I've heard that tone before in an anime, so I know what it means. Well, maybe not really an anime, but it was a cartoon. And like, is it good or bad, Perry? Because let me tell you, I have had a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
It's definitely been a fucking week, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Today was hell. I was just like, I knew I was gonna have a bunch of work, but every time we come to this section of my job where we have a release of software and then we release training material like with it, yeah, it's always.
And then
just
you laugh
such a
because you
mess.
think people are actually going to read the training material, but they don't.
Well,
And is
I
the-
make
is
videos,
the build
so
that-
you know let's
Wow.
do the click and watch thing. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is the build that you made those off of the actual release build, or if they changed 5 things so they back was turned?
Oh no, we update it constantly because it's always a different release build when it's up. So it's different waves and different releases of when the software is up. So it's different waves and releases of the training. At least it just means it grows and more like a lot of stuff changed at the beginning, but less and less changes towards the end of the project. But it's always
Yeah.
just like such a task to get this done. Like the Friday at the end of this week is always bad. But bright side, 4 days off. I don't work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday.
That's exciting.
You got
And
time to
hey,
learn
I'm
Siege?
like 100% shut off from the world right now for like the next 6 days, so I'll be here too.
Why only 6 days?
Just because It all depends on what shows up, how I'm feeling. I might actually, like, if I need groceries, go to the grocery store in 6 days. But I'm not like going anywhere that is like high risk.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I don't
buddy
want.
asked.
I don't want to. Even if I'm not showing anything, I could be asymptomatic until I get a test. I don't know. So
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna keep my distance from absolutely everybody.
That's cool, man. We all appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
I do.
it's the right thing to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've been debating on telling my boss like I'm not going into the office anymore.
You can do that.
Like I can do all of the things that I have been doing from home. I have been doing it for the past 3 months. I'm only there because the CEO is throwing a fit about it.
well, we should probably stop the stream if we're gonna talk about our.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
personal stuff. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. So thank you,
Thank you
internet,
for
and
joining us
yeah.
for session 0.
Aaron, you're awesome. And it's cool. I hope that gave you a cool like idea of where this campaign is gonna go because I think it's already looking awesome.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
Like, I'm
excited
super
about it.
excited to. I love Jerk. He's my very first D&D character. I've got a many of them. Like, my avatar in Steam is Jerk, and I have him on like material for my business. But like, I'm super excited to play this Letus, like my namesake, from
Yeah,
every
it's fun.
platform.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
really, really excited.
You
This
should play.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this is my first male character that I will have played in D&D. They've all been female and elves of some kind. High elf, wood elf. You know, I'm always some kind of variation of an elf. So this is going to be wildly different. I'm also not like this character at all, so it's going to be a little struggle.
It's a good way to explore different things, man.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm excited to DM. Honestly, like I hope that I don't bore people because I like to do a lot more. I like to do a lot of the storytelling and things like that. I feel like um, I have a much different DMing style than you do. So, but I think it'll be good to like switch that up and
I'm
like
so excited to play.
experience different things. You know?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to play.
Yeah. And it's fun to see like different styles of things too because it like gives people ideas and things, you know, like even other DMs, like you get ideas from, like I watch D&D stuff all the time on YouTube and just like get so many cool ideas of like things that like I would have never thought of because people have other ideas than I do, and like so it's really interesting. It's fun.
It's cool.
Hell yeah.
How about you, Sarah? Sarah, you've made a lot of characters in a short period of time. Like,
I've made 3.
I mean, but in a few months, and you've been good
In
to like play
1
them
month,
all.
I think in a span of 1 month, I made 2 characters now. So it's
I
I
like
mean,
Chance a lot though.
I love Chance was kind of like one of the characters. So when you guys first invited me to play D&D, Tabaxi, a Tiefling, and a Lizfolk was actually the 3 characters or the races that I was looking at.
Nice.
And I decided to go with the Tiefling first, and then I was like, all right, something different. I'm going to go with my Tabaxi. Now I'm going to be my Lizfolk, which I think I'm going to play him more like Venom from the recent movies than Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh
Fair.
yeah, because you did mention
Venom
that about
is
Drax. Like, so
Yeah.
Drax, because his like inability to understand sarcasm, like that's kind of like a lizard folk, right?
Yeah, but Venom also from the not too far past Venom movie. If you guys watched that or seen that movie,
I
Yeah,
think it was greatly underrated. I love that
it's
movie.
I
it's a
love
great
that movie.
movie.
For
I
a big
love it.
dumb action movie, like, it's
And
great. If you
it's
try
a
to
very good example of like chaotic good, where like he's
He's
like
not bad.
good,
He's
but
not
like
good, but
he's not a bad guy, but he's like
yeah.
he's
He's just like,
you know,
can we eat them? And he's got to be like, no. I'm like, why
he's
can't
almost
we eat them?
doing good by accident.
Yeah,
accidental
Yeah, no,
good,
that's
not
I think
lawful, not chaotic.
that would be a
accidental good.
good
Yeah.
There's a good
lizard folk.
alignment character. That's fun.
Because I
That's
got
cool.
these like characters like guiding me in the way to be good versus like I'm just gonna eat that thing and they're gonna be like no and I'm like why? Because you
Yeah.
shouldn't. I'm like okay,
All right. I
I
guess I
guess
won't then.
I may sneak it later, but I guess
Yeah, I mean, you can try that. It might get you into some trouble, but
I s-
depending on where you're at,
yeah.
I still
like
love.
if
It's the problem with the lizard folk.
if you're in the middle of town and you like try to eat somebody,
I
that's
come
gonna be
from a
bad.
society where it's food, so you eat the food. You don't waste the
Yeah,
food.
no, I get that.
But you don't eat
That's what I'm
each other if you
No, we do.
have
No,
to.
they will. No, they
Yeah, I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
like, but you're not just like in camp and you're like, I'm gonna eat you today, right? Like, it's like, oh,
Well, they don't. Yeah, no, they don't do that. If their friend, if like somebody dies near
or
them,
like,
they're
do
like,
we
oh,
have
that's
no
food now.
food? If you're like, we have no food, do we starve or cannibalism? They turn to cannibalism. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
like,
even not cannibalism, like or not starving, somebody dies, we're still gonna eat them. It's a
I
waste
would
of
say
food.
that your character's probably intelligent enough to where, like, if you're in a human encampment, that you probably wouldn't try to eat them
Don't worry,
because they would be bad.
I won't let
But at
him.
the same time, if there's like a bad guy and like you guys are fighting like a bunch of pirates or something and you kill them and there's one dude left and you want to eat him, I'm like, what are
feel
they
like
going to do about it?
I feel like I'm gonna
Like,
be rolling a lot of perception checks to see if I notice the lizard person doing something that's like unlawful. So I'd be like, hold on,
I
no,
feel
no, no,
like
no, no, no,
well,
no.
I mean, it's like okay, but like at the same time, it's like these people are bad people. They're evil, and they're like doing something that's directly against your oath. So, like, if they get eaten, that's kind of their fault for being bad people.
Oh no, I could imagine the pride believing that enemies fall in
Like
are free to
I
So,
take.
feel
like,
like
They're
they
conquered.
need to be respected. Oh,
Mm,
okay.
we went
he's an
from
oath of
the
vengeance paladin.
so
So
there, that's a
his shtick is
yeah.
like avenging wrongs. So when somebody does something wrong, he's coming back and be like, no, fuck that guy.
Right. Well, so like paladins and clerics are weird, and like I was talking to Jared about this a little bit, and I feel like Oz probably knows this, where it's like so they get their powers from certain gods, and they have to follow certain rules in order to have these powers. And so, like, if you are a paladin and you're fighting a bunch of orcs, per se, and you kill a bunch of orcs that are aggressive towards you, and the last orc drops his sword and shield and it's like, I surrender. If you kill that orc, you are breaking your oath and you lose your powers.
It depends
Because
on the oath.
depends on the oath,
Right.
The vengeance oath
but
is the most
but
lenient oath.
yeah, but
Yeah, which will be
for
the
the
best.
most part, you do because he technically surrendered and he was no longer a threat. You're only allowed to like you can't just kill people. Like you're only allowed to like protect people and like seek justice. So like if somebody surrenders, you have to take them in. You can't kill them or else you lose your powers because like your god's just like what the fuck, man.
Yeah, so the way I understand this when I read like this is like not a player, I guess player's handbook, paladin oath of vengeance. It talks about his oath, right? And the oath of vengeance is a solemn commitment to punish those who have committed a grievous sin. When evil
Yeah,
forces
Oath of
slaughter
Vengeance is
helpless
different.
villagers, when an entire people turns against the will of the gods, so against the will of Tyr, when thieves' guild grows too violent or powerful, when a dragon rampages through the countryside, at times like these, paladins arise and swear an oath of vengeance to set right that which has gone wrong. So that's like kind of reactionary to it. So I wonder in like certain instances, it's like I come up and I like, all right, has this been set right? Like, is there enough? Has there been enough death? Sure, certainly. Like, there doesn't need to be more death.
Well,
I'm not going to want to just there's no death for death's sake, but there is like does this village of evil goblins need wiped out because of how they pillaged the nearby town? If that's my mission.
I would say that like with the kind of paladin that you are, it's not necessarily with whether or not like is this enough? But it's like, has vengeance been sought, kind of thing,
Yep.
where it's like you are only experiencing this
Aw,
wrath
thank you, modules.
because of the things that you've done. And like it is inherently only your fault that I am attacking you in this way, and like because of that you are justified. That's kind of the way that your character, I feel like, would play. And so like it would, you can get away with a little bit more than other paladins that are like just strictly lawful good, who like, I will attack you if you're aggressing me, but as soon as you give up, then I'm like, I can't. Nope. No longer can do this. Even though I can tell that this is a trick, and you are, as soon as I turn my back, you're gonna stab me. I have to stop fighting you.
I'm also excited to play my dude because he's gonna get more human the more he interacts with you guys.
Oh, you had to say it that way.
Well, not human, but you know what I mean. He's gonna
His
become more
personality's
of
gonna
a
develop.
person. Yeah.
Detroit become human.
Please no.
um,
That's. Did you know that? Anyway,
did you know the
I
developer
don't know
is a
what
piece
you're talking
of
about.
shit?
did you know that Detroit was on the Underground Railroad?
Oh yeah. Um. So yeah, no, that's actually, that's a really cool like feature that you can give your character, is like him becoming more human, or like not necessarily that he's becoming more human, but that he is starting
He's
to pick up customs of humans, even if he doesn't necessarily understand why they exist. That could be like a really cool role play aspect of it,
yeah.
and like I'm super stoked to see that play out, because like, dude, that's fucking neat. Like maybe your character doesn't know why he's like, oh, humans drink tea, and like I don't really know why they do that, but like you like making it, and you do go through all the motions of it and stuff. And, like you don't really get it, like why, but like you're so good because you're like
A machine.
you're so mechanical about it that you like make the best fucking tea ever, and like
And I
maybe
hang
you
out
like
with the
maybe you
traveling
like
tea dude
yeah,
sometimes.
like maybe
The
you like
perfect balance.
maybe you convince like a fucking monarchy to like, holy shit, we've never had tea this good. Like, how are you doing this? And you're like, I don't know. It's like I'm making
So,
tea like everyone else.
so anybody here know Hitchhiker's Guide,
Yeah, I
Yep.
read that book.
where they tell the most powerful computer to make tea,
Yeah.
and it does make the best tea that you've ever tasted.
What do you think I was referencing?
I don't know what you. I don't know. Probably something in End of Evangelion.
No.
No.
Yeah, I'm
Funny.
excited to play.
Like I don't know.
But yeah, like, just like you could play that up. Like, there's so many. I guess what I'm saying is like, be creative. Like, if you like within my other campaign with like Sarah and Robin, like Sarah's playing like a dwarf, and like Jared was for like at this camp, this session, where like Sarah's playing like a dwarf barbarian, and there was like a crumbling table and like crumbling stairs, and they were in like this old tower, and there was like a an owl bear that like made its nest on like the second floor of like a mostly collapsed second floor. And she was like, I want to like run up the stairs and jump off and like vault up the fucking um vault off the like crumbling table to like get up there and hit it. And I was like, I mean, you can't do that, but like try it for sure. And she like rolled well enough, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, and like just for good measure, let's see if you're lucky, and like roll a luck check. And she did, and like rolled high enough, and I was like, you get up there, like against all odds, like you make it the fuck up there, and like there's no reason why you should, but like somehow you do it, like just get like creative about it, and like I'm totally cool with like getting, like if you guys have like a creative idea, um
You're a rule of cool DM for sure.
Yeah, like just ask me about it and I'll be like, dude, if it's a fucking cool ass idea, like if it's super dope, like just ask me if you can try it, and like I'm most likely will let you try to do some like crazy ass like anime bullshit. Like cuz like it'll be cool as fuck if you actually do it. If you don't, then it's not going to be super detrimental to you, but like if you do actually roll high enough to do it, that's fucking sweet.
We try things. Sometimes they even work.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's
And
it's just, it's
so-
basically anime anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys haven't gotten much sense of a Robin yet, but I had the opportunity to do a little like back and forth with Oz over the chat, and I think I have some sense of his character a little bit that we haven't like gotten.
He seems pretty powerful, honestly.
I bet
From
he
what I've
is.
looked at his character sheet.
Yeah.
Which one? That one? The one that you got?
I just
Yeah.
like these lines. I like some of the like we kind of almost half role played them meeting in the tavern where they met, and just some of these lines. He's like, "Look, meet you back here in 3 months, and if you really catch the eye in the sky, I'll buy you an ale." And then here's a familiar voice inside the bar again, sees the sigils that he's wearing, and he's like, "Well, this is gonna make a good story." like he actually did it. What the hell? He's kind of cynical. It seems like
What? It's the Discworld tongue-in-cheek approach to magic happens all the time. Crazy stuff happens over the next hill. So the only way to find a good story is you have to go over the next hill and then keep doing that until you find a good enough story, right?
yeah.
And like
I
truth
like
is
it.
stranger than fiction.
I'm excited for this.
Hell yeah.
Such random collection of adventures.
I was like, at this point, nothing will. At some point, nothing will surprise me. And then there's a lizard folk that's looking at me like I'm food. Like
Well, so I
It's
think
that
not
should.
just
That should
you; it's everybody.
yeah, I know, but that should really be in the traveler's handbook.
So no, they do say, and I watched the same video as you, and I did some research too. They like human flesh more than any other food source, and none of you are human.
Well, that's
So
lucky.
I
So
looked into a lizard person, and the fact that you have that bite during a battle every short rest, you are essentially biting chunks of people off and eating them for health. That's
yeah,
metal. like,
yeah. Just every time
Mm,
Sarah
yummy.
attacks, like black metal starts playing.
like just like
Yeah.
this massive force.
So I think that's a pretty solid session 0. I feel like I got a decent amount to like go off of as far as like a starting area and like how to set it up to where you guys are meeting Letus. I think we could probably call it there.
Sounds
If
good.
you guys have more information or more thoughts, then like please DM me about them. But let's play some fucking video games.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Well, good night, internet. Thanks for joining us for the session 0 of
Good night, internet.
unnamed campaign.
Well, there's a name.
Oh,
The lion, the lizard, and the Warforged and friends.
the lion, the wizard, and the warforged. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like
well, that's a
it's
great
like
end. That's a great end.
so like
Good night,
a
internet.
lion, a lizard, and a warforged walk into a bar.